about that. Please note that this is one-way communication. It's an opportunity for you to speak about any subject that you would like to, but we do not answer questions at this time or engage in discussion. But if there's a question that staff can answer, they may circle back after the meeting or tomorrow to answer that question for you. Now, if there's anyone here who would like to address council, please approach the podium. And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Ann Henriksen, Zeeland. We breathe a thankful sigh of relief over the election outcome. Michigan welcomes the outcome for our religious freedoms. Even the Muslims in Dearborn were for President Trump and DJ Vance. The people of Holland and Ottawa County are still hanging on to their Egypt of separation of church and state, supporting a DEI. In name, it seems outrageous to disagree with DEI, but in the shadows, it is clear that it means something different and has driven our culture to isolate our foundational beliefs in the Bible and the Constitution of the United States. Diversity 2024 has ushered in a sexual conduct and content for innocent children and special needs adults in school instruction and indoctrination and libraries, justified by the Holland City Council's adoption of the DEI Ordinance of Accommodations and carried forward by the Human Relations Commission, Pride Festival financial support. Sexual orientation or diversity rights are resulted in sexual instruction and gender indoctrination, including abortion education, all structured from 2010 Planned Parenthood curriculum. Furthermore, as in 2020, a Hispanic pastor explained before the passing of your ordinance, he respectfully commented that he did not want his daughters going into the public restroom on Central Avenue unaccompanied because a seemingly transgendered woman, a man posing as a woman, may be in there under false pretenses and do something sexual to his daughter, which would traumatize them. Here we are 4 years later with the probability of Holland School Board and perhaps the Boys and Girls Club now adopting Biden's Title IX 2024, boys and girls restrooms / locker rooms in sports and vice versa. All this is birthed from the true meaning of diversity. Equity is basically critical race theory that distributes racial hate. Black Browns are portrayed as victims of whites. The politics has emphasized this, but Holland celebrates it with portraying Reverend Martin Luther King in January celebration as a civil rights activist rather than a biblical scholar and evangelist promoting the truth of salvation in Jesus Christ. He would be appalled by that his name is used to diminish Black brown persons' potential as emphasizing their slave ancestry as who they are today living in a white culture, unable to attain his dream as oneness in Christ. Yes, read the book 1619. Inclusion, a flexible term meaning no moral compass. This is inclusion of anyone's truth. Morality is defined as right and wrong. A civic government does make moral laws to promote peace in the city, laws that command conduct of order. Including in sexual indoctrination has promoted a park right in the middle of our city with a festival celebrating a person's sexual behavior on a Saturday in June. Or to also mention a 2019 breakfast at the Civic Center on a Sunday of drag queens entertainment. Many good things have happened in these last 4 years here, but as with Biden-Harris administration, people have not forgotten how Holland has changed. They want their Holland to move forward in dignity and respect, not in the shadows of the truth of a DEI agenda. 1 year, 2025 from now, we will have a City of Holland election. This 2024 election demonstrated that an awakening has taken place in our country. Now we have the hard work to do the same in this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
So my name is Doug Zylstra. I live at 152 East 24th Street. I am the County Commissioner for the City of Holland. Mayor and Council. It's been a while since I've been here, but just want to give you a few updates of what's going on in Ottawa County. At our last meeting in September, the board approved the fiscal 2025 budget, which calls for $285 million in appropriations, including $122 million from general fund, $151 million from various special revenue funds, $6.3 million in the debt service fund, and $5.8 million in capital projects. The county's total revenues across all funds totaled $280 million. In order to balance the budget, $2.2 million in reserves will be used from the general fund, along with $1 million in reserves from the special revenue fund. I did vote yes on this year's budget because I believe it adequately funds our department's needs in spite of several challenging factors over the past year, including general inflationary pressures as well as needed staff pay increases. We are currently looking for a new permanent administrator. We have had an interim administrator 2 different occasions, and I am uncertain at this point whether we will be able to hire an administrator for this current year. We're still working on that. This term goes through December 31, so hopefully we get somebody appointed by that time, but it's uncertain we'll be able to do that. In the meantime, the board voted to elevate Deputy Administrator Wetmore to interim administrator. I voted no on that hire because the resolution that appointed him grants exceptional powers to the interim administrator far beyond what is needed to provide stability of operations, and instead grants nearly complete control of county operations to the interim administrator without checks or even oversight from the board. And finally, following up on last night's elections, I just want to thank City of Holland residents for your vote, your trust, and your support, and I'm looking forward to continue representing you the next 4 years. Residents are welcome to reach me, as always, at dzylstra@myottawa.org or at my personal number, 443-4281. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Bye.
Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Next item on our agenda, item number 9, written petitions and communications. In addition to providing the public the opportunity to speak directly to council during our meetings, we do also have an email address where you can send email communications to council. That is publiccomment@cityofholland.com. Once again, publiccomment@cityofholland.com. And when we receive those, council reviews those in between our regular meetings, and then when we have communications, we accept those into the record at our regular meetings. We don't read them out loud, but accept them into the record. And we do have one at this time, and I would entertain a motion from council to accept that public comment into the record.
I move to accept the public comments in the record.
Moved by Byrd. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Soul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, item 12, Echo 6.1, Human Resources 2025 Health Insurance Rates and Plan Changes. Mr. Van Beek.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, members of the public, and those watching at home. I welcome up right now Jennifer Orm, our Director of Human Resources. This was, I think when we went into it, maybe what we thought would be maybe a little bit of a challenging year. And I really applaud Jen, her team, and our partners at the Holland Board of Public Works and our consultants that help us with, I think, coming up with a very good solution that not only provides our wonderful employees with very good benefits, but yet making sure that we're keeping cost containment in place. And if I say anything else, I'll probably step on Jen's talking point, so I won't do that. So Jen, thanks for your work and thanks for being here tonight and walking us through what you're proposing.
Yes, you bet. Good evening. All right, so it's that time of year again for our benefits open enrollment. Like Keith said, we work with our broker and with our vendors to negotiate what our rates will be for the following year. So this will be for the 2025 plan year. Just to kind of give you a little background, you probably read the report. I had a lot of attachments. It's a lot of information and a lot of numbers, so I'll try to keep it concise. But the city and BPW has a self-funded insurance program. So we pay Priority Health to administer that plan but those funds come directly from the city. So we make sure to be good stewards of those dollars. Our employees pay 20% of the health insurance premiums as long as they comply with the city's wellness program, which we found great success with. And we've had a lot of great stories from employees about how that wellness program has really helped them to turn around their health and make sure to see their doctor on a yearly basis. So if someone's non-compliant with the wellness program, then they actually pay 40% of the premiums. So it's great that they comply, and most people do. It's rare that someone doesn't. So the city's paying 80% of the health insurance premiums. That's for medical and dental. And we just really encourage the employees to really be good consumers of their health insurance. We equip them with a lot of tools to do that. We try to make it as easy as possible with providing them with those programs. And some of the programs that we have that really make us good consumers of this health plan is we offer 2 different healthcare HSA plans. So it's a high deductible health plan with a health savings account. And so that way people are really looking at the cost because it feels like it's coming from your pocketbook when it's coming out of that HSA account. A couple other things, we implemented a couple years ago a pharmacy savings program and actually have seen great success from that. So it's like a rebate program for our employees that are on certain drugs. And so we have a company that reaches out to them specifically. It's all aggregate data. I don't see what the exact drugs or who is on those prescriptions are, but this third party that's HIPAA compliant will reach out to folks and say, we can get you some really great savings if you participate in this program. And again, a lot of success from that as well. And then also just some other incentives like our wellness program, some other reimbursements for employees taking good care of themselves and making sure to see their doctor again on an annual basis. So the city and BPW pays Priority Health on these fixed costs, and that's where we negotiate every year. They'll look at our year-to-date claims so far, and then they'll also look at projected claims based off of our employees' data. And then we're provided with illustrative rates based on all of that. And so we pay Priority Health to, again, administer that plan, but we make sure to be quite involved as much as possible. So as an employer of choice, we want to make sure to offer our employees really rich benefits, but again, watching what that cost would be to the organization. So for 2025, our medical plan has an average increase of 8.4% for us and for the employees. And we started out with a much higher number, but we go back and forth with Priority Health and with our broker's help. And we're able to get that to an average of 8.4. That average, it depends on which of the 3 plans. We have a traditional PPO 10 plan, and then the 2 different high deductible health plans. And then it depends on whether someone has single coverage, dual, or family. But 8.4 is the average. And then we did decide to make some plan design changes with our PPO 10 plan. That's the most expensive plan that we offer to our employees. And so just really bringing that into line with the market, we have introduced a higher annual deductible and then also higher copays for specialist, urgent care, and ER copays. So all preventative care, there's no copay. If they're just seeing their primary care, for routine matters, it's a $20 copay. And they can do virtual visits for free under that plan, which is awesome, and a lot of employees have been taking advantage of. The dental plan has an average increase of 9% for 2025 with no plan changes. And then our vision plan, there are no premium increases for 2025, and we're not making any changes to that as well. Other benefits that we offer: life insurance, accidental death and disability, flexible spending accounts, we have pet insurance, we have a legal plan, but this year we are proposing to change from MetLaw to a company called Legal Ease, and it's 20 cents more a month. This is all out of the employee's paycheck. We don't pay for legal plans, but it's a great plan with a large network of attorneys in this area, and it really does offer some additional benefits that the previous vendor did not. So that's one of our changes.
And Jen, just to make sure too, the pet insurance is also a totally voluntary program.
It is, yes, completely voluntary, I know. And not many people elect it, but those who do will keep it in place for them. And then just some other updates. So this year is the first year that we're going fully electronic for our open enrollment process, and so that's a big change that my office and our payroll team has really been working hard on. We've been testing it, making sure that it's good to go, so that we can get that rolled out to employees on Friday. So instead of holding our meetings and giving out these big packets full of paper and having to, chase people down for their enrollment information, everything's going to be electronic. And then it actually came at no charge through our insurance brokerage firm. So that was a great solution with no charge to the city. Just a lot of time to build it, I will say that, and to get it implemented. And instead of having a meeting with our employees, we actually recorded a video, and that way if people need to back up and hear information twice, they can do that. So that will be sent out to employees. So it's just a whole new electronic process for 2025, and we're pretty excited about that. But we'll be offering one-on-one sessions for employees that need some extra help. They can come in and we'll walk them through that process. So yeah, that's the 2025 plan year changes.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions for staff? Yes, Ms. Rowan.
It's just a quick question.
Sure.
Since that it takes a while to build, are you able, is it just easily replicated next year? Or do you have to rebuild the castle every year?
No, we will not have to
Okay.
rebuild. We will just have to import new data.
Oh, nice.
And it'll also be used for all of our new hires that are benefit eligible, so all full-time hires. They'll sit down with us and have a face-to-face orientation because we like to do that. But then we'll be able to email them the link and get them set up so that they can sit at home with their spouse, their family, kind of review that benefit information. But yeah, this will be something that we use going forward.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And as the mother of a brand new puppy, the pet insurance.
Yes, you want to insure them when they're young. I've learned that.
Yes. Thanks. That's
Mr. Freeman.
Jen, thanks for your work. On the life insurance, what is the amount of that, and does that extend to all participants or just the employee?
Yes, so all employees are covered at $35,000 by the city, all active employees. And then they can elect supplemental and voluntary life for themselves, their spouses, and for their children. Spouses, it's all dependent on age and things like that. But yeah, it's a great program, and we do have a lot of employees that do elect the voluntary, the supplemental life. Yeah.
Great. Ms. Raymond?
Yeah, what's included, what components are included in the wellness plan?
Great question. So we have, we made it pretty simple. So it's either one and done or 2 and 2. One and done means you go to your physician every year, you take a form, they order blood work, and it's all of the labs that are considered preventative. So it's at 100% cost under the plan. It doesn't cost anything for the employee. And then things like weight, blood pressure, cholesterol, all of those. And then if their physician signs off and submits that, then they are compliant. The reason that we wanted the one and done versus biometric screenings on site was we really want them engaged with their physician so that if something comes back on the lab work or if their blood pressure is really high, it's not just a nurse that they'll never see again. They're actually engaged with their doctor and they can take those matters into their hands.
And what was the second one?
The 2 and 2,
Yeah.
so they can do 2 wellness programs and 2 wellness classes. So we offer a lot of lunch and learn classes that are all, wellness inspired. Sometimes it's mental health, sometimes it's physical wellness, it's nutrition. So we offer a variety of different classes throughout the year, and then we also have programs like signing up for a 5K, or we have a snow melt walking challenge. So they follow the snow melt, and they have to come and sign in a few different times to get credit for that. So we have a Hold It for the Holidays, where you weigh in before Thanksgiving and after the beginning of the year, and if you gain more than 2 pounds, you don't meet the criteria, but it's just a good incentive. So a lot of our wellness programs are really fun, and our employees are really engaged in them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I don't remember seeing the legal plan as a voluntary benefit. Is that, that's the first time I've ever seen that offered as a voluntary benefit. Is that?
Yeah, we've
did you-
offered it for a few years now.
Is that common around?
It is,
in-
yes, it's very common. So it's really mostly used for estate planning, wills. Our new plan covers some additional services, but I've used it myself, and it's a great plan. It saves people a lot of money, and they only pay $21.20 now per month for that plan.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Byrd?
Yes, thanks for all the hard work with this. Couple of things. One thing that I really like is the employee employee engagement programs you guys have. Going all the way back to culture and everything, that just helps keep morale up. You know, the weight programs that you have, losing the weight, 2 pounds. Tim was saying how I probably would not make that.
Oh, Tim.
But I really like that. I think that does a lot for the morale and camaraderie
It does.
for the team. Couple other things. One, going paperless, is there a cost savings with that?
Yeah, just in paper. And I think efficiencies. So when
So it's
an
what-
employee will enter their information, instead of them having to write it all down and then our payroll specialists have to go through and, key everything in, this just automatically imports to the system. And some of our vendors, then it automatically imports to them. So it's really more about efficiency.
Okay.
And I just think, we're kind of behind the times with continuing to do the paper. We've been real comfortable with that, but looking, and that's the thing, we've looked at different vendors and, it's quite expensive usually. So when this was proposed by our insurance broker, and I've called around other HR directors and they use it and they said nothing but wonderful things. It's really user-friendly, but it's also, I think, a benefit for, like I said, employees to sit down at the kitchen table with their spouse, and instead of having this paperwork that they have to remember and recite and compare all of these numbers. It's all electronic. It shows what your current elections are and then what you can elect for 2025. And then they can go back to my video. They can go back to the attachments. So having it electronically, I think, is just a benefit for not only the city but for the employees.
All right, awesome. Then my last question, speaking about rebuilding the castle. So doing this with the company that we're currently doing this with, does that promote a long-term relationship, or will it, do we still have the opportunities to look at other companies? And if we did that, do we have to almost rebuild the castle again?
Start over?
Yep.
Yes, so we could pay for the system. It's called Employee Navigator. So if we were to ever part ways with our current insurance broker, I think that's what you're
Yep.
referring to. So if we were to do that, we could either just download the data, which we also have in the payroll system, and go with a new system, or we could just pay for Employee Navigator to continue that on our own.
All right, so it seems like it's efficient in a lot of different areas.
It is.
Okay.
It is, yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Great. Any other questions for staff? Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Yep. What is the pleasure of council in regard to item 12, Echo 6.1?
Move to approve?
Moved by, was that Raymond?
It was.
It was. Great.
Second.
Thank you. I heard a female voice down there. I figured that had to be you. So,
It was
yeah.
me.
Is there, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shay. Any discussion? Seeing none. Brenda, would you please call the roll?
Vreeman,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Soul,
Yes.
Rowan,
Yes.
Shay,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes,
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Next item, 12 Echo 6.2, 2025 schedule of meetings of the Holland City Council. Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Since this impacts all of you, this, I'm sure, is something we could have done on consent, but we had kind of a light regular agenda, and just to make sure that it's out there and everyone is aware of not only how we do this, but also the dates that we're establishing, or I suppose recommending for you to establish tonight. First is our regular schedule. And we all know, right, that our regular routine is first and third Wednesdays at 6 o'clock are our regular meetings. And then our study sessions are second and fourth. And everyone seems to be comfortable now that if we happen to have one of those wonderful fifth Wednesdays, everyone likes to have a night off. We always have those years, right, where dates fall on weird schedules. So I think what Mallory did here is she definitely tried to highlight for everybody when dates fall on unusual. So, for example, this year, we are not going to ask you to come in on New Year's Eve or on January 1. How about that? We're not going to have you come in that day. So we're just moving that regular meeting back to January 8. So that's kind of the setup. I would encourage and maybe even ask all of you can program all of those in your calendars. That's why we like to put it out there early so everyone knows what to expect. Internally, I will let you know a little secret. We always have to do this because we have to give that information to our media team, who does what a lot of people think is the most important thing we do all year long, which is put information into the city calendar. So we send that city calendar out to people, because if we don't do that on time, we hear about it sometimes, which is kind of a nice problem to have. Other particular dates, so that you're all aware, kind of the routines that we have here. Also with the way the dates fall this year, we're going to do Coffee with Council just before the regular council meeting on Wednesday, January 8, and then the morning of Saturday, January 11. January 8 will be in this room. I think we've confirmed, but I will at a later date. January 11, I think, again, is at the Civic Center as we typically do it. And then the council retreat will be the morning of Saturday, January 25. And then our budget review sessions, Wednesday and Thursday, April 16 and 17. So that is our recommendation. Thanks especially to Mallory and Brenda, also just going through and taking a look at all those dates and getting those ready for our recommendation to you tonight.
Okay, great, thank you. What is the pleasure of council in regard to item? Yes, question, I'm sorry.
That's right. I just wanted to follow up on the Coffee with Council. And so last year, that was my first year on council. So I guess I didn't really, obviously I noticed that they both took place in January, but is there a reason why there's just Coffee with Council 2 dates in January and not other times throughout the year?
Yes. So in a way, we do Coffee with Council. I think we try to have other events or just come or reach out to you and all how we publish all your information. So there's kind of always the opportunity for people to interact. It's another one of the reasons why I'm always putting out, dates and events for you to attend to try to engage with the community. Specifically with Coffee with Council is really the kickoff of our budget planning cycle. So we have those 2 in January. We pair that with the videos. You'll remember when we do a study session with all of you and departments talk about kind of where we're at with delivering on our business plan for the current year. But then we also, from our perspective, talk about plans or needs. And then the thought is that those Coffee with Council events is really a particular interaction with the community opportunity, along with the department videos, prepare you for kind of the strategic discussions that you then task us with at the council retreat.
Okay, thank you. So the reason why I asked that, and that's what I assumed, because I do remember that was like you said, the kickoff for the budgeting season, but I had a constituent contact me a week or 2 ago asking about more involvement or more opportunities to engage with the community, the constituents. So I would just note that on this proposed council planning and budget events, that coffee for anybody that might be listening, January 8th, Wednesday, January 8th, and Saturday, January 11th, and those are excellent opportunities for members of the public, obviously to engage with council, and I would just like to shout that out to anybody that might be listening so that they can take note of it. It really is an excellent opportunity, a very casual event. It's just kind of a meet and greet, a handshake, coffee and donuts. There's nothing wrong with that. But, that's just one of those events that would sort of tick the box on what I was told constituents are looking for. And of course, save up your ideas and your own agenda items that might be of particular interest to anybody that wants to attend. That's an excellent opportunity for those of us to engage in a conversation instead of sort of an email exchange or some other more formal type of exchange. So again, that's January 8th and January 11th. So I would encourage any of those, my people listening, my constituents, to take note of it, and please come out for that event. It's really enjoyable. Thank you, Keith.
Any other questions for staff? Great. What is the pleasure of council in regard to item 12, Echo 6.2?
Move to approve.
Moved by Vreeman. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Soul. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, item 13, communications from the city manager. Mr. Van Beek.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just 3 things quickly from me tonight. First, I warned her this would happen. I think she expected it. Brenda is still awake there at the end of the dais, which is an accomplishment in and of itself when you're the clerk the day after a presidential election. And I'll just say from experience, it's not just the day after, really, it's now like the day after a month or more of pretty intense work. So Brenda, I'm sure I'm speaking on a lot of our behalf. Thank you very much for a job very well done. And really cool yesterday too, something that some of us see that maybe not all of you see, but it's not just Brenda. I mean, her entire team, from early in the morning till early this morning, because it was still this morning that her team was here, and just seeing her immediate staff, other staff from throughout the department and throughout the city, pitching in and just kind of doing whatever needs to be done. That's one of we talked about culture earlier, Quincy. That's one thing that I'm very proud about being a member of this team, is that we do see it that way. So when something needs to get done, we just like pitch in and figure out how to get it done. And that's almost never in better display than on particularly a presidential election day. So very well done to everyone out there, and that obviously includes all of our community election workers too, that just do fantastic work in providing a very fair and efficient and effective election. So thank you very much. And Brenda wants to say something.
If I could just reply.
Please do.
I would echo thanks to my staff and the poll workers who, they only work 1 or 2 or 3 days a year, and they really do a good job knowing as many of the rules as there are, and then they change, and then they get up to speed on that. And volunteers who helped. I commend the community for a good turnout. So good job on that, either absentee voting or early voting or in person. So good job, community. And then thanks to the community for their good behavior. I had many comments from my workers like, wow, the people were really nice and they thanked us. So thank you, community, for your good behavior.
Yes. Thanks, Brendan. I will say, I don't know if yesterday was the first time that we actually had a dedicated officer available all day, just because there was uncertainty, right, about what would happen. So we took that additional step this year, and I can very happily say that it was a very dull day for that officer, which is a good day. Second, just a reminder, Monday night was the 9th night of the Ambassador Academy. Monday nights, 6 to 9, I would say 6 to 9, but most of them have been extending well beyond 9 o'clock, because our class of almost ambassadors have been so engaged in enjoying their tour of the city and city operations. Next week is a particular kind of call out to all of you, if I could, where right here in this room at 6 o'clock, we're going to take an hour and wrap up some things. Some of our authorities, which are not city departments, but a lot of people think they are. So we're going to have 4 authorities come in and present what they do as their, having their own taxing authority, but they're kind of partners and serve our community. But at 7 o'clock is when we're going to shift to do a graduation. And it would be great if you could all attend and congratulate and hopefully get a little glimpse. And I'm really eager to hear their feedback also. I think at this point it's kind of a foregone conclusion that this will not just be the first and only ambassador class. I think we're going to do it again next year. And we're really interested to figure out how to make it even better next year. So next Monday. And then finally, I think you've seen in some of my communications, and it was in the November edition of the community newsletter. And it was kind of cool also to see that on our website, the most recent, most clicked edition that we've put on there is a program in conjunction between our Community and Neighborhood Services Department and our mapping GIS specialist. And basically what we've done is we've taken, and I love how they put it in the e-newsletter, they kind of talked about what's happening on that corner. And it's kind of like when I go on WHTC Talk of the Town and someone calls in and says, what's up with the tree on the corner of, and this may not answer what's up with the tree on the corner, but it does answer the question of, hey, something's like being built or torn down, or there's a sign up that something's being developed. So what we've done is you can go to this map, and basically it has pinpoints all over the map, and then it will take you to either the administrative or the planning commission or the city council documents that talks about something that's been proposed and developed. So we're really excited about it. We have even more ideas of other things that we can put into that. But I really wanted to highlight that not only for everybody, but also for all of you. And the next time that Steve Peterson is here to talk to you about some other item, I've also asked him to kind of do a walkthrough with all of you and do a demonstration project, I guess, because we want to make sure that that's very accessible for all of you. We think it's a really good added tool in the toolbox. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have tonight.
Wonderful, thank you. Next item on the agenda, appointments and communications from the mayor. I do have a proclamation this evening in honor of Veterans Day. Whereas for more than 100 years, it has been our custom to commemorate November 11, the anniversary of the ending of World War I. And whereas on this date, we celebrate Veterans Day to pay tribute to the heroes of that tragic struggle by rededicating ourselves to the cause of peace. And whereas in the intervening years, the United States has been involved in other military conflicts which added millions of veterans living and dead, many from our city, to the honor rolls of this nation. And whereas we are forever indebted to the men and women of the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force, their service and sacrifice in defense of the freedom of our great nation. And whereas we acknowledge the work of our local veteran chapters and organizations that faithfully serve and represent our Holland area veterans. And whereas we advocate with urgency for greater support to address the many issues faced by our veterans, like unemployment, homelessness, disabilities, including mental health care. And whereas we thank the City of Holland staff members, City of Holland City Council members, and their families for faithful service to our nation. And whereas we pray for hope, renewal, and the well-being of our veterans and their families in Holland and throughout our great nation. Now therefore I, Mayor Nathan Box, and the Holland City Council do hereby proclaim November 11, 2024, Veterans Day, a day to thank veterans across our nation and in our community for the sacrifice of their service. We encourage our community to participate in events honoring our veterans through appropriate public ceremonies and private prayers. We call upon our community to remember those who have fallen to protect the freedoms that we enjoy today. We pray for the safety of those currently serving. Let us come together to pray for peace in our world on this Veterans Day. Given under my hand and the seal of the City of Holland, this 6th day of November, 2024, Mayor Nathan Box. And Brenda, I too, not only as mayor, but also as a citizen and one of the 3 members of the Elections Commission for the City of Holland, I think I'm one of the 3 people that gets to, all of us sitting at the dais here, gets to see kind of the process start to finish. One of the things I love about the elections process is the confidence that it brings in the outcome. I want to thank you. I want to thank your staff. I want to thank all all of the amazing volunteers that come out and work on election day. One of the things that you and Vince and I get to do is go over the list of all of the poll workers that are going to be at each of those places. I voted this. I'm an election day voter. I love the tradition of that. I've always been an election day voter, and I love going. And I love seeing the faces of my neighbors when they look at my ID and they check things off, and I get to see who's working there that particular day and having those interactions with folks. And I just think it's a wonderful thing to have the people that I know engaging in that process and making sure that it's done right. And when I'm looking at the results late into the evening and sometimes into the wee hours of the morning, and when I saw the tweet from Justin Roebuck at I think it was 12:58 a.m. That all of the returns were in, I went, it's done, and it was done well, and we can have an incredible level of confidence that it was done right, because people like you and people like your staff and the incredible people that worked at every single polling place and every single precinct throughout this community are dedicated to doing it right. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of that. Appreciate it. We really, really do. Next item on the agenda, appointments, motions, and communications from city council members. Mr. Byrd.
Couple of things. One, I want to echo what you said, Mayor, and what you said, Keith, about the elections. Couple of questions. How many people altogether in the city do you think worked elections? Yeah.
Well, my staff is about 125 people, so all the poll workers, but that doesn't count, like, some assessing people help make us maps so that we know exactly where things are. Parks Department lent us people to help do deliveries. Just extends, I don't think I could count the staff, but probably every department helped.
And then on top of that, you have the volunteers, right?
There are some that volunteer too.
And so I asked that just, so first of all, thank you for everything. And that's a big number, right? That's a really big number. And I don't want to breeze over all of the planning that goes into this. Everything that she's done, it's not like she gets up that morning, now it's election day and I got to go out here and do this. This is a long, thought-out process of how to do it with excellence. And it was done with excellence, and I appreciate that. This is, I believe, your first year on a big presidential election.
As a
Leader,
clerk.
yes, as
yeah,
the leader.
Yeah, I've done it, well, yes.
As the leader. So,
sure.
and again, it was quiet. We proactively had law enforcement out there, and there was no issues. People were nice, and it just shows again how great our city is. Regardless of what the outcome was, whoever had a leaning this way or that way, everything went smoothly. So I'm proud to have you in that position, proud for all of the volunteers, all of the workers, and I can't say thank you enough when people spend, that's beyond their 8-10 day hour of working, right? It goes way beyond. And a special shout out to the group at the Boys and Girls Club on the South Side. I've been going there I lived in my house for 15 years, and they always do a great job. The other thing that I wanted to touch on was the proclamation. I love veterans. Thank you, veterans, for everything that you have done for this country. It's amazing to understand that the people in our military are volunteers. They volunteer to protect this country and protect us regardless of the views that others may hold, that they will stand in the way of a bullet, a tank, a bomb, and give their life for everyone in this country. I think they are one of the most I say farmers are one of the most unappreciated people in our country. And I think sometimes our service members are as well. So I want to give a very big thank you for our service members, those who have served, retired, and those who are continually serving, and those who are thinking about serving. Thank you.
Any other motions, communications from council members? Seeing none, there's just one motion I would entertain at this time.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Vreeman. Is there support? Support by Byrd. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.